Everyone. Today, I wanted to talk about something that I recently found to be one of the most important things in my life, and that is being a doer and just showing up. This summer, I decided to dedicate it to being one of building my bias towards action, which literally just means doing things. All my life, I would think and learn, but never do. And what I've seen living in San Francisco and going to Cornell, just largely as I've grown older, is that what really separates the very successful versus the mediocre is that the very successful people are highly agentic. They're always doing things, even if it's not the right thing, because they understand that if you never try, if you never show up, if you never put yourself out there in the first place, there's no chance you're going to succeed. So I've been spending this time, and I've been spending my summer as the summer of doing. And I think I've actually been doing a pretty good job of that. With that being said, I want to encourage all of you just put yourself out there. And I want to also make this a reflection for myself in the future because I understand that nobody's going to be watching this video as an encouragement to continue showing up, to continue doing, and to continue putting yourself out there. I think that it's really difficult to put yourself out there because it means being vulnerable and authentic. I know I made a previous video about this on social media, but I wanted to talk about it in relation to the larger dominion of life, if you will, where I know so many people in my life, and I've already been experiencing this, where I started out as the same as a lot of people, if not more disadvantaged than some others. Obviously, I live in America and I'm very blessed. So overall, I have an insanely privileged life. But in relation to the people that I was surrounded with, a lot of them are doing very different things than me. And that is largely because they don't do. And not that I was great at it either, but I was able to recognize that recently. And it's been propelling me to more and more success. So basically, what I want the point of this video to be, as I already talked about earlier, is I want to encourage everyone to just keep putting yourself out there, keep showing up, keep doing, because eventually it will probably pay off. And if it doesn't, then you probably learned a ton. And at the very worst, you're in the same spot as everyone else. So you won't be behind for doing. Nobody's ever going to bully you for, you know what I mean? The other reason I wanted to make this video was to reflect a little bit on my advice to myself about being a doer in the Ivy ecosystem and really in college in general. When you're a young person, if you know you want to do business specifically or just in general, I think like 40% of people from elite colleges go into consulting or business, which is a crazy statistic. But it's like you go into college thinking about what you want to do in life, and maybe you have no idea. I didn't really have any idea. But what happens is everybody gets funneled through to this pipeline of investment banking, consulting, etc. And I'm not saying doing that is bad, but I'm saying I think people need to think a little bit more about it because nobody knew about this before college. It wasn't most people's dreams before college. So why is the majority of college students going into this out of the elite colleges where you have your entire future ahead of you? You can literally do anything you want. And obviously, there's some very large economic reasons behind this. There's some very large sociological reasons behind this, like colleges partnering with certain Fortune 500 companies, et cetera. But I think this corresponds in a way to put yourself out there. Is I think that in society we are encouraged largely to not put ourselves out there because there's a risk of failing, which is fine. If like failing in America is celebrated, but even larger, there's a risk of being embarrassing, which is hard because if nobody else is doing something, why the hell are you doing it? And that's what I've been kind of struggling with. And I think the remedy to it is just being highly agentic, just being a doer. When you want to do something, when you think about something, just don't going and doing it. So I want to come back to this video in a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. And I'm curious to see how my thesis worked out for my life and for anybody else's life if, for whatever reason, they did somehow stumble upon this video and decide to take my advice. So my prediction is that, as history has shown, highly agentic people are the ones that are able to make the world a better place. So I encourage you to be highly agentic. I myself will continue to try to be highly agentic. And I think if more people do, the world will be better. And this is will be even more exacerbated by all the technologies we continue to have that really encourage us not to do and just sit and become complacent. So I encourage all of you to do, just go outside, do something. I encourage myself to do something. I continue to struggle with it as well. It's really hard, but I have improved significantly, and you will too. And I want to come back to this and see if my thesis of having a bias towards action being probably the most important trait is true, and if it panned out for me in the following years. So go out there and do, kill it.